And welcome to Mostly Satisfactory, which currently is going through my third iteration of base design. And gosh, it's been a journey, but I think I don't foresee any future major reworks. I kind of think from here on out it's a matter of expansion and tweaking. But that being said, we are in the middle of what I hope to be the final rebuild. And I built this island over here in anticipation of being the admin space. And so I think I'd like to explore that opportunity today. But this time I want to make the admin space with windows. So what I want to do, and somebody reminded me that I got a scanner. I got a lot of stuff I know about, so I should be able to scan for quartz, right? And that from that we can make the windows. So I guess there's no quartz nearby. Oh, I wouldn't call that nearby. It's over a kilometer away. Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of it. Oh, there's clusters of it. Okay. So the other thing I would like to do is I would like to move our power production up in the islands. So since I don't feel like going into parts uncharted and risk my life just trying to find quartz today, I would like to basically move the stuff up. Now, I have power production currently in two parts. The primary power production is through coal plants. At the moment, I have two. And the backup, my auxiliary, my overflow is this stuff, these biomass burners. And I think I'm going to start with my backups first, right? So I think the goal today is to build another island and then replicate a biomass power production facility up there. And then I can take apart the old one. And then if we have time, I would like to build an island and do the same thing for coal. Now, with the biomass stuff, I fully intend to fill the whole island up with biomass burners. And that is what it is, right? But for the coal power plants, what I want to do, I'm only going to build a couple up front, maybe a third one. But I want to kind of get a feeling for how I'm going to set them up and how many I can fit on an island. And because I suspect that I will need multiple islands for coal power plants, right? Because they're just going to, as the game goes on, the power consumption is just going to go up and up and up. So it's kind of like my intake of junk food during high school. It just went up and up and up. But this is how it goes, right? And it's all good, especially since the planet that I'm going to be trashing is fictional. It makes me feel a little bit better, I guess, but not a lot. So I establish the height and hold on. I'm not gonna put the road on the edge. The road will be in the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4 center, and then 4 on the other side. So this is where the road starts. Road between islands. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's the road. Then we go to the end of the road and we start building out the next island. This is the island where the biomass stuff will be. So we'll start it here. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one side. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one side of the island. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the other side line. So that hill is going to kind of get in the way. That's fine. We'll go into it as best as we can. Invalid aim location. Okay. Establish the legs of this beast. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Look at that. Nice. And look at that. I am protecting, or I'm covering, but I am also protecting this little natural space. Don't have to burn it to the ground. Okay, which are the pieces I was using last time? Well, that's not right. That's right. Yeah, I don't need to zoop it though. Yeah. Okay, so we're building the arched legs, which make it look a couple different things. One, I think it makes it look beefy, right? And it needs to be to hold up all this stuff we're building on top of it. But I also think it looks a little more graceful. Now, not super graceful to be sure. But we are talking about industrial buildings, right? So how graceful do you want it, and how graceful can you get it and still keep it functional? So nice. And of course, you remember it took me like a whole episode to figure this out last time, and now that we've got all that sorted out, it just takes a few minutes to set it up and be done with it. Yeah, I was just talking to some folks about, last time I talked a bit about the momentum hump, and I was just talking to today where, I truly feel like I've crossed some type of barrier here, right? The momentum hump is gone, and now I can just focus on. I mean, there's still tons to figure out and learn, but I can kind of focus on getting stuff done now. And I'm not frustrated every step of the way anymore. So this is fun. This is, I'm seeing progress, and it's making me happy. I mean, I have a pretty low bar for happiness. I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but apparently I have too high of a bar to jump over. I don't know if I can make it. I made it. Okay. So there we go. So just double checking my design for the stairwell here, because we're going to need one for the island we just built. Okay. And this is our roadway, so we need to color it as such, like so. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. And couldn't quite reach the corner here. So how many is this? That's kind of cool. It's kind of pretty right here. Very, very pretty. Oh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we cut back across into the hillside, and I'm okay with this. This is fine. You know, the structure of the base was never to build like a fortress or whatever, because there are some hostile mobs out there, but they don't come gunning for me. And unless I build right next to a place they spawn, they won't bother me, so that's okay. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Now, in thinking about how I'm going to lay out these islands, I've had some time to think about that, right? I want to try to make the best use of space, but the same token too, there's, you want to kind of be efficient in terms of inputs and outputs. So I think for most islands, there would be, like I said before, that I would be carrying materials and such underneath the roadways. And then when I bring it into an island, it would come in on one side. And I think the way to go from there is to basically output your doodads from one of the other sides. Probably the easiest one would be the opposite side. So I think that's the way I'll go, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, the tricky part is now that we're talking about these modules, I'm setting them up, but and this one's going to be easy because there is no output, right? It's power is the output. So we bring stuff in, and it won't really matter what direction it's pointing or whatever, because that's it. We're going to generate power, and then the power poles will carry away the output. So it works out that way. But when we start looking at, physical items like sheets or whatever, then the processing will definitely have inputs and outputs, and in some cases multiple inputs, right? And at that point, I might have to rethink where I put some islands, that'll be important because, if I have an input on one side and another input on the other side and an output beyond one of those, or where the output's needed, that's kind of a mess. I'd have to optimize to try to set these islands up so that the inputs can come in together and then go out in the same direction as where the output's going to be used. Still haven't figured out my whole storage strategy, though at this point, since I'm just moving forward, I think the default will be a decentralized storage, right? Where something is created at an island and there will be a splitter and there will be the main output and then a storage container. And once the storage container is full, then everything just goes straight down the output. But we'll see. I mean, I'm still feeling my way around this. And the way this game has been working up to this point, and the way I suspect it'll continue to work, is just when you think you got it all figured out, it's going to introduce something new. And in most cases, you will have to rethink what you already thought you knew about it or around it. So that's just how this thing's been going so far. Why change now? See if I can fit one of these. Oh, not much point there. So that's looking good. We're set up here. Now this one's an interesting one because I'm going to be setting up my biomass burners up here. And the starting point for biomass is, of course, just wood and leaves, right? Not wooden leaves, but wood and leaves. And, I'm not manufacturing those or anywhere. I just happen to have them in my pockets, and I'll empty them into storage container. And that's what we did before. So I think I need to set up a couple storage containers that will go into a couple of constructors. I'll convert individually leaves or wood into biomass, and then a third constructor will take the combined biomass and convert it into solid biofuel. But the way to go about that would be, I was thinking of putting it on one end, but I think really what I had in mind is kind of like in these other modules, when I have like, iron plates or something coming in, the material would come in on one side, right? So maybe what I want to do is kind of keep that model. But how that would equate here is I might put like leaves in one corner, like this one, and then wood in the other corner, pointing toward the middle. Then we have constructors on those ends that also point toward the middle, to a merger where biomass from each of those chains will go into a merger that then feeds a single constructor that will then feed the solid biofuel constructor. So I think I got to work it out backwards, right? Backwards a little bit. So this will be the constructor for solid biofuel. It's off a little bit. There we go. And that goes here. And then that's what will feed the biomass burners. So coming back here, I need to have one of these pointing toward the middle. And this will be like, either wood or leaves. That will turn it into biomass. Oops. I need more material. So, you know, when you go through this type of rapid construction, like I have been, you are reminded just how quickly you can go from having tons of stuff to not nearly enough. And that's what's going on here. I'm wondering if I should change the color of the legs. So we discovered, well, you probably already knew, but I discovered last time that labels on foundations only print the top of the label. I mean, or the top of the foundation, which doesn't really do me any good. For putting signs and stuff up on the sides of foundations, labels aren't the way to go. I'm going to have to go with signs, right? Actual signs. And that looks about right. And actual signs require quartz. Another reason why I should be looking at all that quartz. Okay. I think that'll work. If I don't hit the wrong button. Okay, so then we do the same thing over here. So I got to turn it. And I see it's lined up with its sister on the other side. Now I put a merger between the two of them. Merger's at the bottom, right? Yep. Conveyor merger. And I got to turn it so the inputs and outputs are right. Oh, there you go. Three-way line up. Okay. So far, so good. And we haven't gotten in our own way yet. I'm sure there'll be some of that here shortly, but so far, so good. Now we take a storage container that we'll use to feed this. It's lined up. And I want to make sure it's not in the roadway. So it's right on the edge. Okay. Same thing on the other side. It's lined up. Make sure it's on the edge. There we go. So that's, I think that's basically the inputs, right? After this, it's just using the feeding network to the biomass burners and lots of splitters. So this row right here will be a row of splitters. Make sure we get in the center so it's lined up, centered. Yep. Double yep. Okay. And then we put a splitter here for each of the different biomass burners. just a lot of splitters. But, you know, it is nice that I'm far enough into this where, you know, back in the old days where I was struggling to collect resources to build a splitter, you know, I got even the Mark II base design was sufficient enough to give me a bunch of resources like this. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting in another splitter that would open up for a second row of biomass burners. This one's not lining up right. There we go. Okay, I'm pretty sure I remember that these are exactly one foundation wide. Right? Oops, I hit the F key, sorry. So I need to move it so it lines up. That's not close. I'll hit the F key again. That's lined up. Make sure it's centered on the foundation. So I think that's looking good, which means we could replicate that, right? In a row, they all fit. So back to power, and that lines up. Up. Yep. You know, I just have to pause for a second because I've bit myself in the butt a few times. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something that's obvious. That doesn't go. No, you're right. It doesn't go there. That's where the central input comes in. But one goes here. And now we can connect them all through conveyors. Now, in the last episode, we briefly touched upon the Mark II conveyors, which move a lot faster. But truth be told, for the biomass stuff, it's all auxiliary, right? It's all backup. So if and when it does get activated, it should be sporadic and short-lived, and so the old Mark I conveyor should be more than enough. Now I'll be changing my tune when it comes to producing other stuff, but can't do too much about it until I really ramp up my reinforced plate production. And we'll get there. I mean, that's what this is all about, right? So we'll go ahead and put the wood in this one. Okay. And then we'll set this one to make biomass from wood. And we'll set this one to make solid biofuel. And that means this one's got to be biomass from leaves. And then this, we should dump all our leaves in here. And then this biomass, we can kind of pre-feed this thing. Okay, I think we have the first row of biomass burners ready to go. And like I said, I'm going through materials at a crazy rate. I have some limestone in my inventory that I should be able to unload here because this thing eats them faster than it receives them. Yeah. So it's good to get that out of my inventory. And then I'll grab some nuts before I wind up being in the gas cloud. See, this doesn't, I mean, I think the base design looks good, but more than point, there's open spaces that I didn't have to, like, you know, trash the planet. So the planet still looks pretty good. It looks, this is not only a practical design for me in terms of scale, it's a practical compromise also in doing what I need to do for production purposes. It's also doing what I would like to do for the planet. I mean, playing the game basically commits me to trashing this place, but I have some leeway as to how I trash it, to what extent. Though my AI overseer is not too keen on, you know, conservation or working with a gentle hand, because, you know, that would eat into profits. Now what do I need? I need broads. Okay. It does kind of crack me up how she toes the company line so strongly. So while I'm here, I think I can kind of set up my pole situation. Like I said, these roadways, they're bridges between islands, but and you know, they're designed to be a road so I can drive on top. But they're also designed to be avenues for conduits, so for power and for material. So I want to run power down the side of this thing. It's kind of hard to do without being down there, so I think I'll just have to jump down there. Just a little too far. I'm going to go ahead and grab some solid fuel from one of these. And then I could use that to kind of jumpstart production at the new island. In the meanwhile, I can take these wall outlets and mount them on the bridge. Like so. I'm out of rods. Spare the rods, spoil the power system. So, no easy way to get up from here. This will get easier and better as time goes on. We're just not there yet. Can't get through there. I've lost weight, but not that much weight. Let's see. Rods is over here at the end. Now we're all set. For a while at least. Like I said, now that we're just, building like a madman, we're ripping through these materials like nobody's business. Okay. Should have enough cable for connecting all these bits. So that'll carry power between islands. Now, I've learned a lot about how these pieces work, and the power poles are pretty straightforward. But the part where you get yourself into trouble is this idea that they can only have 4 connections, and it turns out that those connections get filled really fast. So. And once you get going, you kind of get into this habit of just like throwing down random power poles everywhere. And I understand people call the conveyor weirdness spaghetti. I get that. I totally get that. But I think what's even messier than the conveyors is the power situation. And that annoys me. I don't like that kind of messy. So I'd like to be a little more structured in the placement of my power poles. And, there's really like, the power poles really kind of, they're all the same. But like when I plop one down, I really have one of 2 goals for that particular pole. One is distribution, right? I'm using it to carry power from one place to another. Or feeder, where it's gonna connect to a distribution pole and then feed individual devices, and those are the messy ones right there, because they can only have 4 connections, and one connection presumably will go to the distribution network, which gives you 3 devices. But if you have kind of like a bunch of devices like I do here, then you actually can connect to 2 devices, and then you can use it like it's a pass-through as a form of distribution in itself. And then it gets messy, right? Well, what I just described is messy. So I don't like that mess. I'm just trying to think my way through it is all. Okay, now I want these poles to connect to these other poles in this row. keep it nice and clean. And then, like I said, these are feeder poles, so they will feed, or in this case, they won't feed. They'll collect. That's a good point, because in this case, we're not bringing power to these units. We're taking power away. So they'll collect from these units, and then that's connected all the way out. Now we're connecting this feeder distribution, right? So as I discussed, we're going to have that central intake that runs right up the middle, and will feed 2 rows of biomass burners. That's not quite where the other one was. Well, first of all, it's turned wrong, and that's still not quite where the other one was. It's lined up. Up. Move forward a notch. A scotch. Like there. I think that's, but now it's not lined up. I think that's pretty much where the other ones were. Let me double check. Yep. Yep, they reach just to the edge of the foundation. So, the edge of the foundation and lined up. There we go. Same deal on this side. This is off. This is off, yep. For some reason I didn't have it centered. So this time it's centered all around. And now I can put the biomass burner here and have it lined up properly. This one too. We can connect these with conveyors. Okay, I think we're good to go except for power. So we'll just do that. Now, so far this little biomass power farm up here, this island, it's isolated, right? It's not connected to the main network. So I forgot to power the actual constructors. I think we're all set now. So if I just go to one of these biomass burners and I throw in this solid biofuel that I've been carrying around, it's now producing power. that is feeding these constructors, so stuff's happening. And now we just need to connect it to our current main line, and then it's all integrated. At that point, we should be able to take out the old stuff. Where do we connect it, though? And more to the point, once we, you know, I'm coming to the realization that even aside from where we connected to the old network, I actually kind of need to also, in parallel with building the islands, I need to be building the power network to distribute amongst the islands. So that's what I'm doing and thinking about right now. I've been wondering if I should like run power down each side of the roadway. Okay. But for now, that should connect us to the main existing power grid. So we can now take this stuff apart. You no longer need this stuff. Try not to disconnect everything else. Easy to do when you deal with power pole spaghetti. And of course, while we dismantle these, we'll collect a bunch of solid biofuel that we can use, dump into our new biomass farm. Biomass. I told you it's easy to do. Okay, so this and this need to be connected. Oh boy. Okay. Oh gosh, it's it takes a lot of thought. I mean, the thing I like about this game, this is one of the, you know, there's like, yeah, first person shooters and stuff where you're zipping around and you're making decisions like split second, but when you're done with the game, you might kind of think about how you approach things and maybe some strategies that would have made it easier, but it's kind of lightweight because really the strategy used totally depends on the circumstances at the time. This game's different because the strategy used is kind of static, right? I mean, you can think about it and how you should go about it, and there's no elements of gameplay that would radically change your strategy from like when you're thinking about it in the shower to when you're actually doing something here. So now we got these biomass burners. We're dropping in solid biofuel. Priming the pump, so to speak. Get the second row, and then the biomass production that we set up will fill in any gaps I leave behind, Because I think the old setup had 10 biomass burners, and this one has 12. So then we can drop in our leaves. I mean our logs. I don't have any logs. Okay, easy enough. We can drop in biomass, but it already has a bunch. Drop some leaves in here, but it's got a bunch. Huh. I thought this would have a the circuit breaker switch. Yeah, this one does. Okay. So everything's evening back out. I think the main lines are all connected. So we should be able to wrap up this island, and it's that part's done. Oh, look into the clock. I'm not going to have time to do coal today. I have some ideas. Because if you remember last time I tried to set up... Oh, I didn't hook this one up to power. So I'm not making solid fuel. And now I am. So I want to turn that off for a second and let it use the stuff it has in there so that I can then dump off the stuff that's in my inventory. So yeah, with those coal plants, if you remember last time when I was trying to set those up, I set them up next to each other, but then the water intake for both of them kind of got in the way, and I think I have an idea how to combat that. Because I mean, the problem is this: you have for each on the end of each of those, you have the intake side, and you have two side-by-side intakes, one for water, one for coal. And when you got what I wanted to do was to share the water intake, but if you do that, then you got to run a pipe across your coal feed, and that was problematic. So I'd like to set up these wall mounts on this side of the bridge as well, starting on the second foundation. Because, you know, like I said, they have a limited number of connections. So the more of them that you have out there, the more opportunities you have to connect. And flexibility is got to be one of the key elements in this base design. Oops. I didn't know you could do that. Okay. Learned something new today. Oh, I didn't put a power pole up there yet. And it won't let me create a power pole like that. Okay. So now it's just kind of like detailing, right? So we put a power pole over here on the end. I was originally thinking of like putting these power poles over here and then running multiple cables down the side, kind of make it look like a suspension bridge, but yeah, I gave up on that. It might still work. It might still look okay, but the sharp-looking industrial railing, I like them. They truly do look sleek and modern, as opposed to the actual modern railing. This modern railing there. It looks very retro to my eyes. Then we'll continue these. I do like how they've simplified the mechanics of power distribution a little bit, because usually when you have broadcast wires like this, you lose some energy along the wire, right? So when you run long wires, a certain amount of power is lost, right? Which is why we don't like create all the power in like Utah and then just distribute it everywhere. You gotta have it distributed fairly close to where you produce it. Now, that being said, that we in a modern power grid, we have multiple states that are sharing power, right, with each other. So, with those high capacity transmission lines, they can go miles and miles and miles without hardly losing any power, but there's still some power loss. And since we have a tiered power system here, I would think that would be one of the things they would have wanted to tier, though. Oh, it's already got 4. I mean, but it's connected to the main line. When everything finally gets moved up here, we can take away that connection. But I think that's it. The more I work on this modular design, the more it's kicking off new ideas in my head. But also, the more I like it, the more I think that I've made the right decision. Because even though I definitely said this is the way to go, and I've obviously put a lot of effort into this design, there's still that nagging doubt at the back of my head that maybe, just maybe, I'm making a mistake here. because history's taught me that that's more than probable. But no, I think this is good. I think did some good work today. So hopefully you agree. Hopefully you were entertained or educated or just interested in what you saw today, and you will come back and join us next time when we extend this. I think the next time we will either bite the bullet and go looking for quartz or work on those coal power plants. But either way, I think it will be interesting. I hope to see you here. So next time, or until next time, please take care of yourselves, and I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.